Hi everybody, this is William from the Godzilla Files coming at you today with a new list. Tried something a little bit different. This won't be a top 10 only because I couldn't find um, enough to fill it. So this might only be about a top 5 or so. So the list today is movies that I would like to see that aren't related to Godzilla. And what I mean by that is Godzilla is not in the film. So it's still based off maybe characters from the Godzilla series through Showa all the way up to the Millennium, and just people that just creatures that I thought that would be interesting enough for a movie. Now some special mentions, ones like Gigan, um, Mechagodzilla, even Megalon. I think could make an interesting movie. I just don't know. I don't know if there's enough there for them, so that's one reason why they did not make my list. Even Kamacuras and Kumonga, the giant spider, or Spiga, I think could be interesting because you can kind of have them on the island already, but I just didn't. I could never really come up with a good idea or how I would like to see that. So that's one issue. So the ones that you're going to hear today are based off ideas that I came up with for them. So the movie idea. Hopefully you enjoy them, and I'm sure our list might be a little different, but let's hopefully you like it. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 5 is Anguirus. I would actually like to see him get a film. One, because he's a fan favorite, and I think as an ally of Godzilla, I always felt that he was kind of overshadowed by, whether it be Godzilla himself or the monsters that they were fighting. He never had a really big part in any movie except for Godzilla Raids Again. And he's also one of the few Showa kaiju that didn't have his own movie before he went into the Godzilla series. So I would actually like to see something that takes place a little before Godzilla Raids Again. Where the Japanese are coming to discover, maybe they originally think it's Godzilla that's destroying ships or maybe destroying coastal towns, but you actually find out it's Anguirus. And you kind of set him up, and then, even through the whole entire movie, kind of have like an undertone of Godzilla, because I think they're always going to be connected in some way, so use that. We never see Godzilla, but Anguirus, there could always be like that undertone that maybe Godzilla's, was the first of its kind and more appearing. But yeah, you could have the army try to, push him away, try to, find ways to stop him. Obviously, they wouldn't kill him because you need to have him for Godzilla Raids Again. I do think it should be tied to Raids Again. Maybe even film it in black and white. I think that would actually be kind of cool. We've seen a couple of movies recently do this. Logan, Mad Max. It does add something to a film. And you kind of set up Godzilla Raids Again a little better, because I think Anguirus just kind of appears, and there's never any given reason why. To some extent, I mean, from the English edition that I've seen, anyway. So I should always frame that. So I think this could be an interesting way of doing that. That he was woken up and for some reason, and has been attacking and maybe looking for Godzilla to kill him, because they were enemies in Godzilla Raids Again. So maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe have him actually following the radiation that Godzilla left behind, or something along those lines, and kind of try to follow, try to do something like that. But yeah, just I think that might be. I think he could pose a very interesting kaiju for a movie if done right. Number 4, King Caesar. I actually think this would be a great opportunity for them to go back in time to maybe like a feudal Japan, and kind of focus on the Zumi family, and maybe the first time they had to call on King Caesar. In this one you can actually have him fighting invading armies, or even another kaiju. I mean, you could even mix this with Megalon in some ways, which I think might be kind of cool. Um, the people of his world maybe are trying to expand and are threatening the Zumi family. So they use King Caesar to stop Megalon. So, a lot of different ideas that you could do with this. I think it would make a really cool time period. Um, I think it would be something that we hadn't seen before in a kaiju film. So I think that alone would make it interesting. Yeah, I could definitely do without the singing, but unfortunately, that just comes with it. So hopefully, that could be something. Even making a short story about it would be, I think, could actually be a very fun thing. Or maybe I know they do the Godzilla comic books. That could be something that's used there. But yeah, again, I think King Caesar is an interesting enough character where you can do it, but I think you have to put some other elements in place there. I don't think he could actually carry the whole entire film by himself, but I definitely would like to see something along those lines. In the feudal Japan, with him fighting maybe another monster or an invading army or something. So, just an idea. Number 3, Titanosaurus. I actually really think it's interesting that we never get too much detail about him, about his early life, other than the fact that we know that Dr. Mifune found him and that he was once a gentle dinosaur. So I actually kind of see this film as, maybe more focused on Mifune trying to find Titanosaurus and the efforts that he goes through. Almost like we kind of see the downfall more of Mifune. And I think, it's hinted at throughout the whole entire movie and even shown. But I think overall, you only get an idea of what happened. So they never explain how he ever, got control over Titanosaurus. So all those things I would definitely want to see. And you can even connect this film a little bit more maybe with the space aliens. See how they maybe earlier than even Terror Mechagodzilla were working with Mifune. So I think that could actually be a really interesting movie overall. I don't know if Titanosaurus would be the central piece to this, but he would make his appearances, and he would almost be like searching for him. So I think that overall would make a very great story. Not all kaiju movies have to be about destroying a city or fighting another kaiju. Obviously, those are entertaining, yes, but I think this could actually be a much more character-driven story than anything else. Than just, which I think would actually be kind of more interesting in this case. Alright, number 2 comes from the Heisei series. This is actually the only Heisei kaiju that I have on this list, and it's Batra. I think Batra would make a very interesting story for a movie, because we know that he was defeated by Mothra about 12,000 years before the Heisei Godzilla vs. Mothra. So I think that would kind of be interesting to see, their whole fight scene, pretty much everything, like what started the fight, why Batra, doesn't like humanity. Obviously in the films, that his goal is to protect the Earth, but he does it in a different way than Mothra does. He destroys humanity with no regard for anything. So I think that would kind of be interesting. It's like, why did he appear? Why was he created? And I think you could go back into a whole entire movie about him, from the beginning. And I think it would be interesting. Yes, this would have Mothra in it, and she's been in quite a few movies. But I think this would be more Batra-centered, because you would need to explain how all these things happened, how he became the creature that he is today. So that's something that I think you could really make a great movie out of. So hopefully, we could see something like that. Again, this is one of those ones where, maybe, it could possibly happen. because of the fact that Mothra is coming out for a Godzilla film in a couple of years, so I think that might be cool. But, either way, though, I think it still makes a pretty interesting story, if it ever gets made or not. Alright, my number one is King Ghidorah. I don't think that's any surprise to anyone. I thought for a long time that he could make a very good, you know, centralized character for a film. I would like to see, actually, from the Showa entry of this King Ghidorah, because of the fact that in King Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, they talk about him destroying Venus/Mars, depending on which version you've seen. And I think it would be very interesting to see his time before going to Earth. See him, maybe even destroy another civilization on his way to Mars or Venus. So I thought that could be a very interesting idea. It could also show, what the people of those planets did to try to stop him. And even at the end, obviously they wouldn't be able to defeat him and he would destroy them, but maybe they trap him in the meteor and shoot him out into space, hoping that he'll never, harm anyone ever again. And then obviously, could be a cool kind of like end scene or like end of credit scene. See the mirror heading towards Earth. Kind of symbolizing that he's heading, Ghidorah the three-headed space monster is going to be the next movie in the series. So I think that could be a very interesting idea if they do it well. Obviously that's, up to them, but overall though, I think that in my mind, out of all the kaiju in the Godzilla series, he has the best potential for a solo film. And with his new, with him going to be in Godzilla 2, King of Monsters, might be a good time now more than ever. I think it would be an interesting idea to do. Obviously, I don't think they're going to do that for the new American Godzilla, but maybe, Toho does something like that. So, yeah, that's my number one. I hope you enjoyed this list. Let me know below if, who you would want to see in your own films. If you could create films from a certain other kaiju from the Godzilla series, let me know below. And look forward to reading some and maybe have some good ideas. Talk to everyone soon.